It's Offside with Hawes and McGuire.
On a warm summer's evening, on a train bound for nowhere, met up with a gambler. We were both too tired to sleep. Okay, welcome to Offside with Hawes and McGuire. This is our gambler-themed episode.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna get things started off with. Well, first we're gonna do is we're gonna crack them.
Yeah. Sounds
All right.
good.
There we go. Ready?
Sounds good.
All right.
Oh, nice.
That was actually, you know what? I think those were both pretty.
Yeah,
What do you call
kind
that?
of,
In tune.
Yeah.
In tune.
It was good.
In tune.
Kind of like you
kinda-
playing the guitar there,
Exactly.
Kenny Rogers.
Well, you know what? Do you know this about interesting tidbit? You want to talk about trivia?
Yes.
Kenny Rogers didn't record that song first.
Okay.
You know who the first person to record that song was?
Zero idea.
A guy by the name of Bobby Bear.
Bobby Bear.
The next guy to record that song, Johnny Cash.
Really?
Yeah, and they thought it would be a huge hit for Johnny Cash, except at the time he was going through one of his, we will call them down cycles.
Yeah. He had a couple.
He got a few, and he basically phoned it in, and it was a really lame version. And 2 months later, Kenny Rogers' version came out, Song of the Year, and it made him as a solo artist that song.
Wait a minute, what-
took him to the absolute level. 'Cause
Okay.
Lucille was the first.
Yeah.
And he and
We used to sing Lucille on the bus coming
that's
home
right.
from Pius.
Okay, no. And listen, and prior to that, he was with the Fifth Dimension. Like he was an
Oh,
artist
yeah,
of his
yeah,
own right?
yeah.
You know. But Lucille kind of made him, you know what I mean, as a solo artist. But what took him to the top of everything, and to be like one of the number one artists for, you know, probably 10 years running after that, was The Gambler.
The Ode to Shane Pinto.
The ode, as we call it, the ode to Shane Pinto. Here's, you know what? I'll bet you 3-1 that
What are the odds?
you know.
Oh, man.
So we're doing this in the
Do a special show of Hawes and McGuire.
special show of Hawes and McGuire, because it is such an important thing, and we're doing it underneath the sand of the Sands Hotel sign. We did that there. I got a couple of dogs playing cards here. You know, we're trying to keep it a little light, a little themed, but fucking devastating news.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's a crushing, the biggest news in the NHL in some time for sure. You know what? I don't understand why so many media outlets, print, electronic, otherwise, refuse to seemingly acknowledge, almost ignorantly, that there's precedent for this. There were players suspended in the past for gambling.
There have been, and listen.
I don't want to digress down that road totally, but I just think.
Well, it wasn't Theo Fleury. No, am I wrong? Was Theo Fleury? No, I mean, because listen, he had a big gambling problem when he was in New York. That was the reputation that he had.
Apparently, Jagger did as well. I mean, I don't know.
Well, Christ, Derek Sanderson. Want to talk about my Bruins?
Yeah.
Derek Sanderson was fucking dead. He was dead broke in New York. He had $1 million contract.
Yeah.
And he was dead broke because he gambled it and drank it all away.
Yeah.
And they never suspended him or anything like that.
His was in the he got his big money in the WHA.
Right. Okay.
By the time he got back to the NHL, I think the broken Derek Sanderson's role was already started, even though he was a little bit effective still in a couple of those teams when he came back. But anyway, the fact is, Don Gallagher and Billy the Kid Taylor were suspended for life for gambling in 1948.
Who'd have thought a guy named Billy the Kid would have gotten involved in something none to wear?
Well, the guy shares an NHL record with Wayne Gretzky.
What's that?
Most assists in one game.
Oh, really?
7. Yeah.
Really?
And Gallagher's part of the Sprout line with Boston, with your Bruins, when the NHL nearly suspended operations during the Second World War. And what they did, they reduced the age of anybody who could play that, of course, was too young to sign up for the war. So the Bruins had, of course, their famous line was the Kraut line, inappropriately named at that time. But Milt Schmidt, Woody Dumartin, Bobby Bauer, all enlisted and left the Bruins. The Bruins, of course, the age of the NHL player could go down to 16. They had Bep Widlin, who was 16 years old, his youngest player to play in NHL history, Don Gallagher and Billy Schill, and they formed what was nicknamed the Sprout line.
The Sprout, because they were...
Because off the Kraut line.
Right.
It just rhymed. But Sprout, young,
Yeah.
So he was part of that before Billy the Kid Taylor ended up coming over to Boston and said, "Look, we can double your money.
Right.
I'm going to show you how to double your money. We're going to bet on games. We're going to bet on our games because we know, and this is how it started. And there was a third party involved, ironically, which I think we're going to talk about here. Just now,
we will
Pinto.
discuss.
Anyway, fact is, 2 guys were suspended for life for gambling in 1948. They were reinstated in 1970. And just,
but they were much too old to play at that point.
Yes. But Taylor went right back into hockey.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he went right back into scouting and right back into involved in the game. And the previous guy, who was suspended for 9 games, 2 games earlier, Babe Pratt, he only did 9 games. They let him back in, said, if anybody else gambles again and we find out about it, you're done for life. Right. And 2 years later, Gallagher and Taylor did, and they were suspended for life.
Right.
So, yes, we're in 2023. I know it's a million years ago.
So are you suggesting he should be banned for life?
No, I'm not, because they're saying that here's all we know, right? We know he got suspended for 41 games. Yeah. We know he's profusely apologized and taken full responsibility. And we know the NHL has said that he did not bet on NHL games himself. They said that. And they said he's being suspended for sports gambling wagering issues.
Right.
And that's all we absolutely know for sure.
Okay. So there's a lot of speculation out there, and let's face it. Most of what we're going to talk about is speculation.
Of course,
there are some complete truths that I'm going to reveal. Like what we get in the news world, you would call it a scoop.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Or an exclusive.
Right.
So right now, I'm going to do this right. You know what I mean, like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The wire.
The wire coming across.
Yeah.
Okay.
the ticker.
Breaking news from Dallas. Okay. Let me do this. I'm going to be Walter Cronkite.
Okay. There you go. You regret to inform the American nation.
At 11:42 in October, whatever the goddamn day it was. Unfortunately, the Shane Pinto was, suspended. That's my best Walter Cronkite.
It's not bad.
Okay. Now I'm hoping people actually still remember. Some of the young people won't even know who I'm talking about. Walter Cronkite.
No, they won't.
Okay.
He broke the Kennedy assassination.
He did.
Right?
That was the whole.
Or at least broke it to the nation.
Yeah. He broke it. He pulled the glasses off. It was a classic move. It was brilliant.
Yeah.
It was a brilliant move. And as a kid growing up with glasses, man, like you got to take those highlights when you can get them.
Sure.
Right. It's like hey, there's another geek. I'm not saying I was a geek. I'm just saying, you know what I mean? I had the strap. I had the Hanson Brothers strap for my hockey.
Did you really?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, man.
Oh, my God.
We had, you remember there's a little black elastic hooked onto the back there so that I could see when I was playing hockey for a long time. Like, so anyway, we digress. We digress.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about some of the theories that are out there. Okay. So, now, and there are variations of this, but some of them are based on, one. He got involved in some excessive gambling debt.
How do you know?
Well, these are rumors.
Okay, just rumors.
Yeah, these are rumors, right? Okay, so that he got involved in some excessive gambling debt,
right?
With a casino in Long Island, run by a few friends. Okay. Friends of ours, I think is how we describe it. Okay, and in order to clean that up, okay, he just was cooperative with them. Okay, didn't do anything wrong, anything like that, but kind of provided some information that he shouldn't have, and then as a result, his debt. Okay, which had been attached to this account that he had, okay, was wiped out. Okay? All right, which meant that a large transaction like that threw up a flag, okay, with this organization, which has a affiliation with the NHL, okay, who then said, hey, this guy hasn't bet on anything, but there's been activity in this account that we cannot explain. Okay. We'd like to find out, you guys should look at this. Okay. So that is the rumor that I have heard. I and I can't say, I even called a friend of mine, okay, in New York, and he knows nothing of it. And if he did, he says, I'm sure shit not going to tell you. So apparently, you know, when you have a podcast, people might think you'd say something.
Yeah.
So I can tell you right now, he refuses to discuss it. He has no comment, and he wants no pictures taken. But so that is something that has been out there. Now, have you heard other stories?
No, no, and I've done no digging either. I once the suspension was announced and he wholeheartly apologized.
Yeah.
Now we've since come to find out again. I'm dealing just with the facts here right now, so no speculation that there was no appeal process going to be allowed here at all. You're serving the 41. Take your 41. Take your medicine. We'll see you game 42. The fact that they're allowing the suspension to
be retroactive.
Not only retroactive, but to take place. He doesn't even have a contract.
I know.
Like in normal circumstances.
Lucky him.
Well, lucky. Yeah. Wow, he's so lucky. But, you know, I mean, exactly. He rolled the sevens, man. He got lucky. Look at these guys.
Yeah.
But, no, hey, clearly a massive faux pas. And if he's able to resuscitate his career, he's young enough and he's talented enough that I think ultimately he'll be able to, excuse the pun here, skate by this and move beyond. The fact that it happened to the Ottawa Senators, we're here in Ottawa.
Right. Well, that's why it's even more. It has more gravitas for
sure.
us.
Yeah.
Right.
I think personally, what happened myself is, as much as that is a plausible theory that you've presented, I believe, and I'm leaning more towards because Darren Dreger and some of the insiders who have made some, should I say it, like their suggestive explanations carry to me a little bit more weight than any others that I've
What,
heard.
are you fucking saying that they carry more weight than I do
Well,
when it comes to hockey insider
not
information?
necessarily, but you know, look at anybody.
Fuck Darren Dreger.
That's what the panels have suggested this proxy person, third person, a separate, not a separate account, but
Proxy.
account that proxy is that the right term?
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
And that you know, and Shane had this guy, or the guy did the betting unbeknownst to Shane, whatever.
Right.
But I don't. What I believe in my heart is that had there been irrefutable proof that Pinto would have gambled,
Oh, he would have been gone.
I think he would be gone. And I think
Absolutely.
the precedent from 1948, notwithstanding the time
Right.
elapsed here, still would have carried the day. And I
Well-
think under the CBA, I believe it even states that. Before we finish today, Chris, we're going to 1,000% circle back and talk about the hypocrisy of the NHL, pushing the whole gambling scenario and thing, and especially getting the key guys in the game to be point people for it.
Right. Yeah.
But we'll circle back to that. But I think it was a third party, and they were able to determine that Shane either wasn't involved, had no knowledge, but he was liable, or because it was his account, and they were able to do a deep dive investigation and secure in the fact that what he did was wrong and inappropriate, having his name to that account that was effectively then betting on the NHL, but because it wasn't him, he was able to get the wrist slap of 41 games. But, you know, hypocrisy abounds on multiple fronts, not the least of which is the one we'll discuss toward the end or whenever, but also the fact that you can... Anderson almost kills Laine with a shot to the head with 2 seconds to go and gets 4 games. And Pinto gets 41 for being a third-party extension to a gambling thing that the league is their number one promotion.
Wow.
Now.
But there it is.
Hypocrisy.
But but here's the thing. They're trying to send a signal, right? They're trying to send a signal saying, okay, it's not going to be tolerated no matter what. However, okay, recognizing that this is like massive revenue for them. Like the NHL.
I understand.
Like Gary Bettman, he must have, when he heard about this, like I'm pretty sure, and he doesn't say this very often, but he said, "Oh fuck," because Gary Bettman's not a guy who says fuck very often, but I guarantee you, he's like, this is real, because it's real trouble for them, right? I mean, it can eliminate significant amount of their revenue. It calls into their credibility.
Absolutely.
Like all of the
well,
shit.
that more important of all. You
Yeah.
got players, and now because on that, like opening night roster on 32 teams, 20 guys, that's 640 guys. You think Shane's the only one?
No, I know he's not.
Yeah.
I mean, listen.
So
the reality is this.
and he wasn't even on the opening night roster.
Whenever you give a 20-year-old, let's say $1 million and change,
Yeah.
okay, to go out and do with what he will. He's going to buy a fast car.
Yeah.
He's gonna experience some women, okay. He is going to gamble, okay.
Yeah.
He's going to have a couple of pops, right? Okay, and they're not going to be cheap pops, right? It's going to be like good imported pops that actually,
I don't know.
No,
it's not like it used to be.
No,
These guys all got financial advisors and agents, and parents are so much more involved today than
Yes,
the
but the
generation
first
ago.
thing they say is fucking listen. You worked hard. You achieved
Anyway,
something.
you're right.
Go out and do.
Well,
go
your
out
point,
and have
your
fun.
point's been proven right.
Yeah.
he did. He
Absolutely.
got involved.
And everyone.
So how many others now?
Well, this is 680 more.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, at the end of the day, there's 9 guys who are born again Christians, and that's because they were Pinto in their younger years. Okay, like at the end of the day, they're human beings. They're men, and I know that people are gonna hate me saying this. Okay, but we are wired in a way that is thrill seeking. Okay.
Yeah.
We are wired in a way that is looking for challenges. And you want to see
trouble.
No, but that's exactly it.
Yeah.
But that's the way men are wired. And I know I'm going to get letters about, you know what I mean, because somebody identifies as something or whatever. Or women will be upset because women are wired certain ways too. Yes, women are wired much more conservatively. They are much more interested in the protection of their, I'm going to say their offspring. That sounds like very technical, but they're much more protective of their environment. They are fucking way smarter, okay, when it comes to rational thought. Mm-hmm. But men are driven by testosterone, and that's just the way we are. And so all that being said, we're going to gamble. We're going to. I shouldn't say we're going to gamble. I mean, I'm going to gamble. I'm not a big gambler, but I listen. I've
taken a few shots at it. I've contacted a bookie a few times. I've done some things.
See, I've never used a bookie. I'll be honest with you.
I did a few times.
Whatever. I know. Listen, when I was in university, so a bunch of my friends who are still friends with actually, they got caught up in a. Do you remember in Ottawa the big bookie thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, it got busted.
Yeah.
Well, they were like
a couple of young guys, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, all university, all deep in.
Jeez, I'd forgotten about that.
Yeah. So those were. So I guess I would say, you could say I used a bookie back then, but that wasn't really, it was just with friends. But it started out as a small thing that got bigger, and then the police cracked down. What they thought was some sort of great organized crime. It was just a bunch of guys at university. You know what I mean? Whatever. But those things happen. Anyhow, my point is don't drink and drive.
Perfect. Here, cheers to that then.
Okay, so let's talk about, and I'm going to be calling Pinto the dark horse now.
The dark horse, that's good.
Okay, let's talk about the dark horse.
Yeah.
Okay, Darth Pinto.
Darth Pinto. Yeah. Poor bastard.
I know he's going to be. You know what?
Look, he gets to come back and play.
He does get to play.
So
yeah, which is a great thing for him. And you know what? And I congratulate him, his parents, for the way they raised him, his handlers for the raise, because I don't know what he's saying behind the scenes or whatever like that. No one knows. But he was a man, and he stood up and he accepted responsibility for his actions.
You mean the apology?
The apology, absolutely.
Yeah.
And you know what? If, you read it and you can say, sincere, insincere. Who knows? Because we don't know the context with which he has had to deliver it. However, he did acknowledge it. He did accept responsibility. Okay, without knowing what's going on in the background and everything like that.
Yeah,
is there. Now I'm going to tell you something. This is where I'm going to expose what is 99% the issue that started this whole thing.
Okay.
Okay. Pinto put in a team in our hockey pool. He used a proxy. The whole thing is going. So the whole proxy thing is correct. But Pinto put a team in our hockey pool because he heard the prize was so fucking awesome that he risked his NHL career to be able to go to Ireland with Liam and Chris. Did you know that?
No.
Oh yeah, this is breaking news, folks. This is the real reason Pinto was suspended, was our hockey pool with a grand prize of a trip to Northern Ireland.
Well, you can't blame him.
Well, I can't. Absolutely. And you know what? But you know what? You know what got him off? The guy who's his proxy didn't pay his $25 on time.
Ah.
Yeah. So that's the only reason.
I see.
Yeah. So he got the slap on the wrist for the.
So this is the real truth.
This is the real truth.
Okay.
I want to, and I'm sorry for exposing it. What I mean?
That's what Offside with Hawes and McGuire is all about.
Well, exactly. And inquiring minds want to know.
Yeah.
So.
All right then.
Okay. So in other news, we may be looking for a new coach. Or are we?
Well, look, they're playing. We're taping this right now, Saturday morning. They've got Pittsburgh tonight in Pittsburgh, a rink they rarely win in, and now Shabbat's out.
Yeah,
obviously.
Oh, by the way,
Brandstrom's out. Took that massive hit from Clutterbuck. Haven't heard an update today, have you?
I have not. You know what? I'm going to be honest with you. I have not. I've barely woken up.
Okay then.
I'm not gonna lie. I know you're an early riser.
I am.
And I am generally. It depends on what you call early. On the West Coast, I'd be early.
There you go. It's all about what time it is, right?
But I drag my, especially on a Saturday. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's and I did a whack load of yard work getting ready for winter because the weather's turning, right?
Sure.
So it's been great weather though.
Been beautiful weather. Yeah.
But I know it's coming. They're talking that we might have snow next week, all this stuff. And so I've been doing so much yard work. And I don't know, you know this, I'm not 26 years old anymore.
What?
Yeah, I know.
Damn.
I know. And
shocking news.
Like, it is, I'll tell you, by the way, you turn off a couple sprinklers, man, you throw that back out. No, it's been a busy friggin' week. So anyway, that's why I kind of slept in again.
Well, listen, I think last I heard Brandstrom was okay, like moving all extremities. Yeah. He was alert, and I'm sure ultimately, if he is anything, hopefully it's no worse than a concussion.
Right.
Hopefully. I mean, he was on the ice a long time. Like I found an inordinately long time before they got him on that stretcher. I've seen this, sadly. We've all seen it a number of times. It's rare. But it was scary, and they got him off, and I saw him move his hand just before they took him off the ice. That was a good sign, and we heard the reports later that night, the next day. So here we are now. I don't think there's any doubt about it. This is the exact scenario they said they wanted to avoid. It was a slow start. They've lost 3 in a row. You're in Pittsburgh tonight. Brandstrom's out. Shabbat's out. They kind of dodged a bullet to Chuck not having to serve the suspension against the Islanders, but then the whole team was trepidatious anyway, including him. I think he played a little bit offbeat, a little bit off.
Yeah, because he doesn't want to get too.
Well, he was thinking, oh, geez, I thought the guy drilled him in the head and then hit him again when he was down, which I had no problem with. You're in the fight, he's going. That's ridiculous that anybody who makes a comment that Chuck did the wrong thing there has never been in a scrap. Like, you've never been in a scrap when you're throwing. Well, you don't have the presence of mind. He was so pissed off, he's given her, and that fight was kind of even for the first 6 or 8 seconds.
I will tell you a story. Okay, this is the thing. And you learn it once. Okay?
When you're on the other end.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, no. I happen to have this altercation, okay? And I give it to this guy, but he goes down. That's it. I turn my back and I walk away thinking, fucking, I'm done, right? Look at, I'm proud of myself.
And he's up.
And on me, and so you gotta fucking finish. Like, cause literally the guy come at me, spun me around, clocked me, pounded the shit out of me, okay? And I had thought I had won.
This was a different scenario than that.
No, yeah, you're right.
Different
You're
scenario
right. But
than
here's the thing.
But-
You got to have that. They call it the killer instinct. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
You got to have that finish.
I think it's human nature when you're involved in the scrap, even when you're going down and you're down, if you're not being impeded by the officials at that time, you're going to keep swinging.
Right.
That's just the way it
no,
goes.
you're
Anybody who said anything against that immediately showed that they absolutely know nothing about fighting in hockey, have never been involved, and you lose all credibility, and please don't talk about it. The rest of it was having the game misconduct rescinded again was the right call. It was the right call because in the spirit of why that rule was brought in, where you got an automatic game misconduct if you took an instigator in the last 5 minutes, is for certain instances in a game which this did not fit.
Right.
The instigator penalty stays on his record. Because if he accumulates, I believe it's 3 of those, he would get an automatic 1-game suspension.
Well, and a detention.
And a detention, yeah.
He gets detention.
But no game misconduct, and DJ doesn't get fined $10,000.
Yeah, that's the best part.
That's right. Certainly he dodged that bullet because, as you said, in the next 7 days or so, he's probably going to be.
He's going to need that $10,000.
Which, circling back to your statement.
Yeah.
So yes, I think he's on a very, very short plank right now. I think the team is reeling. Obviously, I see they called up Clevin for tonight and another D-man, and I'm assuming Shabbat went immediately on long-term injury reserve. I'm assuming, which means they can use the money, get these guys in the lineup, and at least you don't have to play shorthanded. Because on the night of and the next day, before anything was announced about Shabbat being hurt, Ottawa was potentially looking at playing short a man, because you can't do the emergency recall until you play a game short a player. So, and Brandstrom, if you put anybody on long-term injury reserve, they've got to miss a minimum of 10 games.
Right.
So it doesn't.
And Shabbat will with the hand.
Shabbat will, but Brandstrom, no, you weren't. It didn't look like that was going to be an option.
Oh, I don't. Yeah, no, but I think it is.
Well, I think maybe it is, but this was in the throes of being discussed when the news came out about Shabbat's hand.
Yeah, exactly.
So the point is, the news all this week, other than Jack Hughes being ahead of anybody's pace since Mario Lemieux from 30 years ago, ahead of even any Connor McDavid's last couple of years, it's scary. But I mean, the news this week has been all Ottawa.
Well, certainly from our perspective.
Well, fuck, about the NHL perspective. I mean, it's all Ottawa, Chris. Pinto's the number one story.
It's all Ottawa all the time, ladies and gentlemen.
And now it's the injuries. And I mean, there's a few other things, but I mean,
so they might be saying like this.
It's the biggest news in hockey.
They're saying this new owner is fucking bad luck. He's not. I'm just
Watch them go into Pittsburgh tonight and get a W. I mean,
I hope
stranger things have happened.
But here's the thing: Pittsburgh is not playing well. They're
not, but they just got a nice win, and it's kind of weird. Like New Jersey goes into Montreal, and I mean, okay, you beat the Habs. The Habs are off to an okay start. New Jersey just absolutely dominated the game, minute 1 to minute 60. Go to the next night, and they lose to the Caps.
Yeah.
And it's weird, but I mean, look, if you're caught in the back end of a back and back, you're always going to be a little bit of a lesser team. Right. But we're so focused on, I think we said it on one of our earlier shows, they're just robots. They just go out there, man, perform, especially the guys in our pool.
That's right.
And let's go.
You were there to serve us.
That's right.
That's right.
It's been some, Chicago beats Vegas last night.
So I was watching that game.
Yeah.
Okay, because
very good hockey.
When we were at the pub.
Yeah.
Okay, so we were at the pub yesterday afternoon, and I don't know about mentioning all these things, but that kid Blaine, okay, his dad came by.
Mike Byron.
Okay, okay, well, we'll say
Blaine Byron. Why not?
Absolutely. All right, okay. I didn't want to say who it was. So he was telling us
friends of mine.
how he's able to watch his son play in Germany now on this thing. So I came home. And I went right on. I wanted to see some of these other things.
On hockey TV,
it was...
forget what exactly
I think it was called On Hockey TV.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, so I go there, and I'm watching the game, and then I said, I want to watch the Vegas game.
Yeah.
Okay. I actually like it.
You didn't stream it.
I did. I was streaming.
You're kidding me.
I have become modern. I had this thing going.
You watched it on the stream?
On the TV. On the big TV.
How was the
screen.
picture?
It's great.
Come on.
Oh yeah, I'm telling you, it was like high def.
There wasn't glitches and
you know what? There was I'm not sure if it was me or the TV.
Yeah, okay.
No, there were a little
That's
bit.
so cool.
But it was like really good.
Oh wow,
it
man.
was really good.
I have the package, so I was just flipping around.
Yeah, so that's what but this is a package. This is like it's like you get everything, and I can watch any NHL game. Like you got to find someone who's sharing it and all that. Like it's one of those.
Okay.
I don't even know what they call it. It's kind of like Napster. I'm dating myself,
Yeah.
but it's kind of like Napster was.
Yeah.
But anyways, I watched
Good
that
for
game,
you.
and I could
See
not.
Bedard's goal?
No, I didn't actually. So that was the last goal.
No, we didn't get the winner. No, they won in overtime.
So when I came, it was 3-2 when I tuned in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then Vegas
4-3
tied it
Chicago.
up.
Yeah, Chicago
Vegas tied it up
Yeah.
on a. But Vegas really turned on the juice.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, and then I flipped over
Their
and
first
I
loss.
was watching a game from Sweden. So and then I came back and it was over. So I didn't see that. But I was basically playing, watching stuff like that because I did not go out. We didn't go out to dinner. We had some frozen pizzas.
Oh, I felt bad because I asked you to come down to the bar and have a drink. You ended up having, I think, 4.
Well, I didn't have 4.
Yeah.
I had 2.
You had 3 at least.
Okay, you know what? You don't. I'd say that I had. Then the Uber came, picked me up, fucking took me home.
Right.
Okay, and then I got home and we were gonna be going out for dinner, but we decided not to. Okay, so we had some frozen pizzas at home.
Yeah.
Which
And you sat and watched hockey together.
It left me wanting, and we watched some hockey together. Okay, and there's
Beautiful Friday night.
yeah, it was a great Friday night. That's all I got to say. Is there anything else that we want to discuss? Because really, we
Just one
discussed the
thing.
Pinto thing.
Yeah, no, I think we've said our bit about Pinto, and it's on the books, and he's apologized, and now everybody can speculate till the cows come home because none of it matters.
Right.
And the only two things, I want to circle back on one thing with that. Marty Walsh, the new executive director, the NHLPA, has been to 6 of the 32 teams. And the point of it all about transparency and us not actually knowing what's happening and us speculating that there's probably other players. I mean, when you're talking, there'll be as many as 800 players or close to 900 that'll play at least one game in the NHL this year.
Yeah.
How many people are laying bets? We don't know. But it's safe to say there's a higher number than just Shane Pinto. And as Marty Walsh is doing the tour with these rest of these teams, how many of the respective player reps on these teams are going to sit down with him and say, look, what is going on? Because we're not saying we have guys on our team that are betting on hockey, but what if we have guys that are involved with third parties and things of that nature, like where they think maybe what they're doing is safe because they're not directly I don't know. But I mean, the point of it all is that I think there's still there's a reason why I think it should be transparent and we should know. You've stated already he did not bet on the NHL. He didn't kill a man,
No.
So he didn't kick somebody in the teeth. He didn't spear somebody in the throat. He didn't end somebody's career. But he did something egregious enough to get 41 games.
Yeah.
We're all adults. It's 2023. Give us transparency, not only for the people who now are going to speculate and write things on social media, but then so the rest of your association, your players' association, knows exactly.
Well,
okay,
I think
you know
the
what?
players, so I think that this is going to be an in-house situation. So why he's making the rounds is he's fucking going.
Well, they do this every year anyway.
Right? No, but
Plus, he's a new guy.
That's right. But he's going to be carving out for them the parameters of what happened.
Yeah.
And how this shit can affect. Like if the NHL is doing what they should as a great corporate citizen and leader, okay?
Yeah.
The NHL should be with the NHLPA, okay, which are two different things, right? One's the union, one's the organization.
Yeah, those are the two entities that run the National Hockey League.
But right now, they both have a common interest in maintaining the integrity of the game.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, and don't think for a second that the NHLPA was not involved in the negotiation of this.
No, they were. That's been stated as well.
That's right.
That they were involved in
and all of the interests involved. But they've got to go around and they've got to educate these kids. Okay. The players, the teams, everybody involved.
Yeah.
The fucking trainer.
Yeah.
Okay. They got to educate them on exactly how this happened and what could happen. And you know what they need to do? They need to hire a guy, okay, who might have, has connections with things like that, whatever, and understands how guys will manipulate and play the game. They need an underworld consultant to tell them, this is what's going to happen. This is how we play the game. Okay, so if you guys want to not make those mistakes, this is what you got to do to avoid it. I mean, and I know that sounds, no, that's what you do. Like, if you want, you know what, you want to save money on your, your taxes or whatever. Okay, talk to a criminal. They know how to do that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, you want to catch a guy who is cheating on his taxes? You hire a criminal to find it. That's the best. You got to have a criminal mind to think the way a criminal does, right? And so you got to have them. I'm not saying everybody has that, but you got to bring them in as a consultant. And say, listen, here's what we're saying. And I'm not.
How about this? How about just the directive goes out and reinforces that every single player that has a valid contract under the NHL Players Association. Hey, guys, idiots, don't bet. Don't be involved with anybody that bets on the National Hockey League. You want to bet $1 million on the NFL, I guess that's okay. Oh, yeah, but you can't touch your league.
But okay, so that's the statement. But the reality is this, okay? The Catholic Church told me not to have sex before marriage. Didn't fucking work out. Okay? I'm just saying, okay, people can issue all these edicts, okay? But people are going to do what they're going to do. So what you got to do is explain to them how not to fall into those traps.
Well, how many are scared shitless right now then?
Oh,
how many are doing the Michael Jackson moonwalk out of affiliations, associations, anything that's got to do with a third or fourth party or anybody that's involved with potentially betting on the NHL? Let's say hypothetically there's even 10%.
Let's just say...
Let's say whatever. Pick a number. Doesn't matter.
Say there's 1%. So there's 9 guys.
9 guys. 9 guys.
That's fucking huge.
Shitting their pants and have absolutely got on the horn and have ceased all connections.
Oh no, they haven't got on the horn. They got somebody else to get on the horn.
Okay, well,
but that's how. Yeah. You know what?
Right. Thinking maybe they were safe because they're a third party.
That's right.
But I don't know. These guys, I mean, it's 32-team league. Like, when Gallagher and Billy Taylor were playing, it was 6-team NHL. So, when Gallagher said he was going to lay money on Boston, his own team, and because he knew Milt Schmidt wasn't going to play that night.
Right.
Which meant all but assuredly the Bruins were going to lose that night.
Right.
So, he told the guy, and there was a wiretap, and they got it all on tape. Him saying, bet against us tonight. Milt isn't playing, and I'm not going to have a good game either. Been pretty easy to kick him out for life. Getting that on tape, right? I mean, I know it's 1948, folks. It's a million years ago. But the point
is... So J. Edgar Hoover was involved in that?
J. Edgar Hoover, man. There's movies.
Oh man. Hoover was involved
This is right after Bonnie and Clyde. I mean, this is real shit, man.
They're wiretapping. Well, no, but it was also right after the Chicago Black Sox, right? You remember with Shoeless Joe Jackson?
Well, that was 1919. That's way before.
Okay, well, it was
30 years before. But I mean, but yeah, they had a scandal.
30 years is not a long time.
No, it isn't, because I'm talking 1948. So you're right, 30 years is not a long time. I mean, right now, Jack Hughes is off to the best start after X number of games since Mario Lemieux in 92-93, which is 30 years ago.
There you
or
go.
32 seasons ago, or 31 if you take out the lockout season. Anyway, whatever. But I mean, yeah, it's the point is that I think there are some players. Statistics would suggest there's some players today that might have been in a similar scenario that probably have made some immediate adjustments to whatever they may be involved in terms of look at the whole Rick Tocchet thing with Janet Gretzky and
that's right.
There's been so many instances where the pendulum has kind of swung in there a little bit, but nobody's ever been absolutely on the hook to be singled out, identified 100%.
Well, and you know what? And the reality is this, that, I say it, people are going to gravitate, opportunists are going to gravitate to people who have money. That happens, right? Yeah. And some of the greatest swindlers in the history have been respectable people. Yeah. Okay? There is a certain, trading card collector in Los Angeles who,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who took a lot of people for a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
a very respected guy until people realized that he wasn't a respectable guy.
Yeah. And
Right?
he ended up in jail.
He ended up in jail.
Yeah.
Right? And
Yeah.
so, I mean, it's hard to judge people
Yeah.
when you're a young kid, or even you can have all these advisors around us. And as we know from a fella by the name of Bobby Orr, sometimes your financial advisors and your advisors aren't the nicest guys either.
And look what I'm wearing.
There you go.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that's the, is that a, where do you get that? What is that? What is the
I don't
logo?
know. Or something.
So is that like a Bobby Orr, his brand of clothing?
Well,
How do I not know this?
he gave me this.
He did?
Yeah. Yeah, when I emceed one of his, I emceed his tournaments 6 years in a row. So this is
Listen.
this shirt is 7 years old. I'm still wearing it. But,
Really?
you know, it's a little old, but
Wow, and it's white. See, I could never do that because after the first time I wear a white shirt, it has a spaghetti stain on it. My wife goes, like, I don't understand you. Like, she has to buy me paisley everything, right? Like, it's fine, you know. But I can't believe it. I want one. Are you kidding? That's
okay.
crazy.
Well, you know,
Well, we have to do it. Well, as
We'll get
soon as you
somewhere.
get me to that goddamn that
Well,
golf tournament.
don't know if they did it this year or not.
You
And
know.
I was just with Doug Gilmore a couple weeks ago, and I could have
Should've
asked him. I totally forgot. Well, I got his cell. I can text him,
Yeah.
but and I can email Bobby and find out. But I know last year they wanted me to come down. I couldn't do it. I had a conflict.
I was available, just so you know.
I know, and you
I'm
were
always
I had you on speed dial, and
Yeah.
I was going to bring
Yeah,
you down.
it's- yeah, it
you
was
could have
like-
met Bobby, and we'll set it up.
Well, listen,
We'll
I don't need
set it
you
up.
to meet Bobby Orr, my friend.
I know. I know.
He just needs to watch one show and say, I don't know who this McGuire guy is, but Hawes,
Yeah.
I want him.
I want him. Yeah, it'll happen. Last thing, Chris,
Yes.
before we circle out of here
Yeah.
again, as I understand it, I don't know if it's Canadian gaming or Ontario, but as I understand it, in February of 2024, they're going to outlaw the affiliation or association of the athletes to these ads.
Good.
So now I believe that's what I heard or read. If that's
Well,
correct.
and they would have to have it only
Which means
active
no more
athletes.
Austin Matthews.
Yeah, it would have to be active.
Connor
It can't-
McDavid. Yeah, I
because you
guess you
can't-
can't
you
do anything with Gretzky and.
No, I mean, these guys are retired. I mean,
and
they,
these guys,
they
yeah.
have to have their opportunity to make money on endorsements
For
outside
sure,
of that.
for sure.
Uh,
But the guys currently playing, which really is the last bit of the hypocrisy sort of thing that
Yeah.
I wanted to bring in here is how ridiculous it is. Yes, players should still know, don't do as I'm advertising because it's, we all know why. But yet,
Right.
You've got these guys, these pillars of the game, these leaders, these superstars. And then you get a situation with Pinto.
Well, listen,
it's just so hypocritical.
But let's talk about hypocrisy though. And you said, and I'll be honest with you, and I don't like the players, okay, and Gretz, okay, doing the betting ads. I'll be honest with you,
Yeah.
because I think betting has destroyed far more lives and wrecked far more people
Yeah.
than many other things. Okay, however, I also don't think the government has any goddamn business in telling somebody, whoever they are, what they can and can't do.
That's a
So
good point.
I
Yeah.
have a problem with the government outlawing that.
Yeah.
Because hang on a second. You're like, what else are you going to tell me? I can't touch myself when I'm alone. Like, these are all things which there are lines that government should and shouldn't cross,
Yeah.
and I think that's one. And I'm sorry to take that into a political venue, but I just think it's about your
I hadn't thought of it that
it's
way,
about
but you're
personal
right.
freedoms.
Yeah.
that so many
However,
people fought
I
against.
should follow up again. As I said, read this very quickly and heard this
Okay.
very quickly, and they're saying, look, we're doing this because of the
kids.
nature of addiction,
Right.
And the effect it's having on the youth. And you are the leaders, you're the role models, and so we're taking away
Well,
that
absolutely.
opportunity
You know what I
for
think?
you.
But here's the thing, and I'm going to tell you something.
Your
right
point's
now.
well taken, but
And I, you know what? I went off there on a little diatribe.
Yeah,
I
that's
hope,
okay.
I hope it didn't bring everything down.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, this has been a special news-breaking episode.
well, we had to comment.
We had to comment,
We had to.
absolutely. So we'll have another episode for you in a couple of days. Our regular episode will drop on Wednesdays, as always. This has been Offside with Hawes and McGuire. I have been Hawes.
I'm McGuire. Get it.